Thanks again for having us. And Talia reached out a couple of months ago and kind of asked me, like, hey, do you mind to support the organization? Do you mind to participate? And as you can guess, you're getting a lot of them naturally here in the Valley. And we always want to, to do good things and be part of the stories. But this organization, we just opened up the website. It was kind of an arrow to my heart. My wife, niece, diagnosed with leukemia 5 months ago, and I went to visit her. I'm from Israel. I went to visit her in Israel, and her father, my brother-in-law, is a pilot in the Air Force, and he's kind of probably the best. I call him the Israel version of Rambo. It just looks like a Rambo type of person. He's a big, tall, strong pilot, and and kind of me walking into the Eclipse hospital to visit him, and I see him, and the big Rambo broke in my heart, in my arms, and I think it was the first time I was getting the first circles of this thing called cancer, especially cancer around kids. So I think the organization the foundation is just fantastic, and I'm happy to be a small portion of that. And naturally, have an amazing partner here tonight, Anil. I'll let him talk a little bit about him and Ciitizen. But I did companies before, so I was a founder moving to be an investor, and looked up Anil, and was just stunning about how many companies you did in such a short time. And as you know, venture-backed companies, it's hard to succeed, and somehow you managed to do all of that. But yeah, I'd love to kind of, if you can share some with the audience, like Ciitizen and cancer and the data issue around that, and how the heck in 2019 we're still feel so behind regarding using data to just do better in order to fight this thing called cancer.
I'm 110 years old. I'll give you 30 seconds on the background. I'm a biomedical engineer from back east. That was decades ago. I started my first, what I thought was my only healthcare company, and that was 5 or 6 before. We had a failure, an IPO, and 3 exits. Most recently, Apple acquired Eclipse. And Apple, as you know, is making noise in the public press about medical records. I think that's great. My father keeps emailing me, they're doing your marketing for you. They are. After the acquisition, I was in Cupertino running their health records engineering program, and I got the call from back home in Maryland, come home, your sister has 2 weeks to live. So of course her big brother goes, well, F that. And I asked Jeff and Tim, and they released me, and they were very kind. They said, go take care of your family. Tanya lived another 5.5 months because we crisscrossed the country looking for a Hail Mary, which didn't come. And 10 days or so before she died in Johns Hopkins, I'm sitting in her room, and we're just having a conversation. She's obviously weak. And she goes, what are you going to do? And I said, Tanya, I'm really tired. I've been doing this a long time. I'm going to go to the beach. She goes, forget that shit. You're going to not take sabbatical. You're not going to retire. You're going to go back and do whatever you can to help kill cancer in this lifetime. So that's what I'm going to do.
Woo.
So maybe let's talk about a little bit, you decided to start Ciitizen, and maybe you'll share a little bit about this concept. I was, I'm fortunate to say, was not that familiar with where is my health data currently, and is the PAMFIS on it, I on it, and what happened when actually you are diagnosed with something and there is a need for data to be hosted in some way, or there is a need for all of the new machine learning and artificial intelligence to be interact with this structured data, as you guys doing in Ciitizen. But I'd love to, if you can share with the audience a little bit, what is the problem you guys trying to solve around data, and where you see the world is going based on that?
The problem is this. Wet chemistry's had a long time to try to take down this problem, probably millennia. good people trying to do the best thing. Cancer's faster than our ability to track it and to keep up with it. By the time research has found a molecule or done some research around it, got the team together, published the paper, it's 3.5 years out. The original cancer that is the topic of the paper has mutated 9 generations. By the time the paper comes out, its current incarnation is laughing at us. As Laura Esserman, some of you know up at UCSF, she talks about reducing the cycle time in cancer discovery. The mutation period is around maybe 100 days, 4 months, 5 months. We need to hit cancer within those 5 months. And the only thing that we've come up that's as fast as that is computational biology. That's why it's so exciting that if we can feed the right information to computers, maybe in like that, they can connect information that wouldn't normally be available to us. So what we are doing is we're saying, look, all these companies are going to create algorithms, machine learning, AI, artificial intelligence, these things we've all heard about. They won't. There's no fuel. There's no data. It's like building a car, but no Shell, no Exxon. What do you put into the computer? It needs to munch on data. What we are doing is we're converting thousands of PDF pages from medical record systems, and we're building a computer, we're building a system to read clinical narrative. You don't need structured data. We convert Word to Excel, metaphorically. So we think by the conversion of people's paper or PDF health records into computable data, all of these machine learning tools that we keep getting excited about, they will finally have computable data to pull in and do these magical things. I'll finish with this. If data was oil, we are ExxonMobil. We take crude and we convert it to 93 octane so that consumption can be had by cars and tractors and whatever they want to do with it. We are not Ford and GM. So that's what we're doing.
So you told me that my data in PAMF is currently on PDFs, and it's kind of rocked the boat for me a bit of like how it's going to be. 2019, we live in the Bay Area. Why my data is not in something that's a little bit more sophisticated than sitting on PDF. There's a lot of amazing people in the audience who we should push, fight, shout in the ecosystem in order to accelerate the process, because it feels like there is a really good momentum. We are investing in a lot of companies in the space. You're naturally doing amazing things in the space. It feels like there is a positive momentum, but from time to time, I feel like we're finding a little bit headwind from maybe some organization that not necessarily wants to see things getting improved, and people are dying.
Economics. This is not a technology problem. The sharing of information has been going on forever. We do this in the social setting. We have social profiles, we have economic profiles in our Equifax, FICO ratings. We don't have a health profile. That's on purpose. It's not that the system is broken. It was designed to do exactly this. The retention of data is control over the patient. The patient, it's not quite an ATM machine where you punch and money comes out, but to be coarse, that's where it's going. We have to remember that, let's say we spend $3 trillion US top line health spend, 10 trillion worldwide. Everyone says about 1/3 of that 3 trillion in the US is waste. We gotta remember that waste is someone else's wages. And industry is not gonna walk away from $1 trillion worth of wages. So this is a regulatory and a mental approach. It's economics. The only person who is outside of all the draconian regulatory, umbrellas is the patient. The patient can do anything. If you're PAMF, I can ask you for all my information. You must give it to me. You must send it to me in my Google email. I get to tell you what's good and bad.
Maybe talk a little bit about it, because I'm not sure how much people in the audience actually understand that point. And maybe, double click again on Ciitizen. So CMI wants my data, I'm going to PAMF. They, by law, needs to provide me access to my record, to Lior record. Pretty healthy, by the way. Did a health check my wife sent me. She's like, you need to do a yearly check, you're 36. I'm like, what? So PAMF provide me the data. I'm now, once to become a Ciitizen partner, I provide you an access to gazillions amounts of PDFs. You convert them to modern database. Then what?
We'll step back a second. Outside of financial data, we think we need to protect healthcare data, probably at the top. It's the number one thing to protect. And so institutions like PAMF, Research, Pfizer, Merck, everyone who deals with a patient's PHI, personal health information, is under these regulatory restrictions about privacy, access, release of information, all of that. The patient is not. So in a weird way, if you were PAMF and I asked you for my information and you were good enough to give me everything, not just what's on the silly portal, but everything, you could ask for it right back and do lots of things with it. It is scrubbed when you share it and mediate it and use the patient to carry their information. That's why I think you had an earlier question, what will break this logjam? Patients, patients, and patients. That's it. And it's worldwide. Everyone recognizes, even in Europe with GDPR and other regulations that are coming around with, it's my data, and this is very much in the public press, you're allowed to own your data in every country. Whatever their regulation, whatever their approach to health privacy, the patient always has access. So as long as we are working with the patient, we can help them. We don't work for the industry. We called it Ciitizen for a reason.
I have a question to you. Recently, I bought my parents a present for their anniversary. And, talking with my dad, being soldier all of his life.
Mercedes.
Say it again?
Mercedes.
Mercedes, close. And I'm like, Dad, I bought you something, you and Mom. And he's like, whoa, we're going to Cancun? Oh, no, actually, you're going to LA to do sequencing. I bought you a package of, someone's going to sequence 100% of you. It was a little bit disappointment with the news that there's no white sand in that lab in LA. But I'm curious, where do you see the conversion of health data with the world of, DNA sequencing that seems like making progress, definitely on the cost-wise, right? I think it's, dropping 10x almost every 5 years now. Do you think that's the solution maybe? So let's digitize, let's be as a consumer first, say we want our data, we'll give you the data so you can put it in a modern database so we can do something with the data. Then sequencing will be the complementary solution to go solve some of the tough problems like cancer.
There's 3 areas of information. One is clinical, that comes out of institutions that are images and CT and MRI. Then there's genomic information, and that's exploding, and we think for the right reason. And then there's lifestyle information, because about 70% of disease is influenced greatly by lifestyle as opposed to genetic or genomic factors. So these are the 3 things we concentrate on. And the problem with either genomic or clinical or something else is that it's not this or that or that. It's a combination, because genomic is a key. It's looking for a lock. The lock is the expression that comes off of your body. I have, brown eyes, and I've suffered from migraines for 30 years. These red wine migraines. It doesn't stop me, believe me, but I've suffered from lots of migraines. What we need to do is say, what kind of data exists on a group of people with migraines, and what kind of data have we captured in the clinical setting? If someone says in the clinical setting, I have migraines, but we also find in their genomic profile, every single one of them has a little snip or a little piece of DNA or something that is related, maybe that's a discovery. Because before we knew red wine causes headaches, we didn't know it, and now we do. I think there's a ton of those out there.
I'm going to, on the same topic, double-click one more layer. Areas that we love and recently invested in companies, the whole, call it personal medicine, right? So the idea that you abstract the DNA out of your body, take it to a process to build a drug that dedicates just for you, and still early. There is only, I think, 4 drugs now is being approved by the FDA, but I was fortunate enough that part of the diligence, we talked with a girl that she's now 7 years old, and when she was 4, she basically was one of the patients of Kite Pharma, the company in that space that developed a drug that she had stage 3, I think, and got cured, like one shot. It's a thing. Personal, DNA-based.
So the topic you're talking about obviously has a name, personalized medicine. What does that mean? That means that in relation to how, let's say, drugs are built right now, you have the biochemical stuff, you've got the business, the drugs are manufactured, but the actual data that's collected on the safety and the efficacy of the drug is collected about a whole bunch of people, and then they drop out the women, and they average out the height, so they average out the weight, so they have one pill for everybody. That's not personalized. The last time we are going to see a drug like that is Lipitor, $13 billion. Personalized medicine will require personalized information about you, so that if you have a personal health profile, like your FICO score, your Equifax profile, you shove it into a system, I don't know what it is, and it prints the pills that you're supposed to take by your height, weight, what progression of disease you're in. That's not science fiction. That's absolutely going to happen. So when you go to the pharmacy, you're going to give them some data, and they're going to go, that's your pill, just for you. You can't do personalized medicine, which is what we think is the solution connecting genomics with the death of cancer. We need the personalized data. That's what we're about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.